Welcome to Harsh Reality Broadcast on the 8th of May 2013. Well, what have we seen? The Dow Jones Index has risen, it's closed above 15,000 points, and gold continues to fall. Last time I looked at gold, it was $1,455 per ounce. With the fundamentals, I would have expected things to go the other way. That is to say, stocks to fall and gold to rise. But the markets are being manipulated. We have a quantitative easing program that's been going on for a while now. In fact, it's been going on for so long people see it as the norm. And really, a lot of people just don't question it. But it is having a significant impact. It is basically a wealth transfer from the poor to the rich. But because it's hidden with a little bit of complication on the elite's part, people don't always realise what's happening. And that's because they've been diverted with so-called reality programmes. They are interested in other things, so they don't see the bigger picture. In fact, the ignorance is bliss mentality is okay when you don't have to face reality, but reality will be faced one way or another. The debt-based economic model will not continue forever. So, why am I so downbeat about the economy? I think it's because I do my research. I am a critical thinker, and I get bits of information from various places and then come to my own conclusion. I do admire some people on the internet: Gerald Celente, Chris Martenson, Mark Farber, Peter Schiff. All very good sources of information. And what I tend to do is listen to these people and gather information and facts from elsewhere and come up with my own forecast of how I think things are going to go. It's very difficult to give exact timings, so all you can do really is look at the trends. So what's happening? Well, the media are painting a very, very rosy picture indeed. They claim we are in recovery and the party is still going strong. Reality, on the other hand, is very, very different from that. The reality is we've borrowed far too much money from the future. Far too much. And the debt-based system, the fiat monetary system we now operate today, has been highly, highly abused. Fiat currency in itself can be okay, providing it's managed sensibly. Unfortunately, it's been managed extremely badly, and that is significant greed from the banking elite. I'll try and explain what I mean by that. Over the last 30 years or so, 30 or 40 years, we have been highly leveraged with our monetary supply. We've introduced credit cards. Think about this. Who benefits from credit cards? Who really benefits from it? And I would say it's the banking elite. And the reason for that is that with credit cards being introduced, it debases the money supply, but there is a significant interest payment back to the banks with credit cards. What do you think caused the housing boom? Partly it was credit cards. Again, people were panicked into buying property, and because the money supply was debased, the prices started to go up. People panicked. They even used their credit cards to get a mortgage. Then there was the irresponsible subprime lending. Goodness grief, think about it. Why did the banks lend money to people that could not afford to pay the mortgages. It just did not make sense. It was all for short-term gain. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew they were creating a problem for the future, but they didn't care. And then there's the awful time bomb derivatives. I will make a video about derivatives in the future, but all I can say is watch out for that term, credit default swaps. Again, the normal person will not understand what that is. And I don't blame them, because they're diverted with other things. So, where do I think we're going? We are going to have a worse standard of living from my point of view. And that's because we've had too much of a good standard of living in the past. It was a bit of a fairy tale standard of living, to be honest with you. We borrowed from the future to give ourselves the illusion of wealth. Well, it's now payback time. And it's payback time big style, because far too much money was borrowed from the future. Let's have a look at a couple of things with the US. Debt ceiling. Right. Well, the current debt ceiling is $16.4 trillion. It was supposed to have been dealt with in March of this year. Then it was deferred to May the 18th. And now my understanding is it's been further deferred till June of this year. So really, they're just not facing it. But it will come. So come later this year, they'll have to sort out the debt ceiling. What I think will happen is the usual. They'll increase the debt ceiling limit, and probably to $19 trillion. Then there was the fiscal cliff issue. That wasn't really resolved. There were supposed to be spending cuts and tax rises. Now, the only tax rises they got in the US was the 2% increase. But that was only because there was a 2% reduction in the Bush administration. So that's all they were doing, was just balancing that out. So no real change there, so the issue was ducked. And then there was the sequester. Well, tax cuts of $85 billion pale into significance when you look at quantitative easing programme of $85 billion per month, including in that mortgage-backed securities. Ben Bernanke said earlier in the year that it was going to stop the quantitative easing programme. I did some videos and said there's no way he's going to stop it. And I was proved right. He's continuing with that, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was going to be at an accelerating rate. So watch out for that. Japan have significantly started to debase their currency with a massive amount of quantitative easing. So all this funny money is being injected into the economy, and that's what's inflating the stock markets. It is not a real recovery, and people need to understand that. It really is a dire situation ahead of us. I am certainly not a doom and gloom merchant. I'm not. I'm very positive in my life. But I do see a reality, and I will speak about reality. I don't mind facing it. I don't bury my head in the sands. I don't suffer from normalcy bias. Many people do. And normalcy bias is what happened in the past. They expect to continue into the future. They don't see the paradigm shift. And boy, is it going to be big. It's going to be massive. But people don't see it. You can talk to people until you're blue in the face, and they just don't get it. And as I said before, I can't blame them for not getting it. However, the emerging markets get it, and I have no doubt that Asia and the upcoming markets elsewhere will be investing in gold. I have no doubt as well that the central banks will be recapitalising their gold deposits. My understanding is, with the Federal Reserve Bank, a lot of that gold has been leased out. Why do you think they don't want their banks audited? Why do you think it's so hard to be transparent? Think about it. They have something to hide. Now, anybody that believes that our elite, that are whiter than white, are highly naive. The LIBOR scandal proved that. Politicians in the UK were corrupt. We found out about their expenses, the scandal there. There was the Rupert Murdoch with the media. They are all in it together. So all I would say to people is just do your research, understand the bigger picture. Don't focus just on the small picture. Look at the whole picture. Don't just rely on the mainstream media. Also look at the alternative media. Now, I don't believe everything in the alternative media. I'm not that naive. But it provides balance. It just gives you a look at the bigger picture. Then you can actually make your own decision. From my point of view, I don't see a Mad Max scenario happening. I just see a worse standard of living over time. It's going to get a lot worse, and I think the governments are making preparations for this behind the scenes. I think we'll have to sacrifice our liberty for safety. Therefore, I do see a more draconian government, unfortunately. Anybody that wishes to have a look at the National Defence Authorisation Act can see what was signed into law by the President Obama back in December, the 31st of December 2011. Get a chance to have a look at that. See what is happening behind the scenes. That's all I ask you. Just look at the bigger picture, because believe me, there is a massive paradigm shift happening, whether we like it or not. Governments should have faced reality many years ago. Yes, it would have been unpopular, but it was needed. But instead, politicians thought, well, we have a fickle public, so we are partly to blame. Let's not tell them as it is. But unfortunately, having that approach means that the problem is a lot worse down the line. People that see my animated cartoons see Willy Coyote jumped off a cliff and is suspended in midair. That is where we are. Reality, that is to say gravity, is about to take place. Exactly when, I don't know. It depends how long they can keep going with printing the money before the system collapses. But I have no doubt at all in my mind that it will collapse. Thank you for listening to my video. I'm going to start giving you some more animated cartoons in a week or so's time. Thank you.